Hi guys, welcome to Youth Connect today, and I am excited because talking to this gentleman, I am personally going to be inspired. Now today, we thought about talking about a very important topic, youth in agriculture. My father always says that, Emefa, have you thought about farming? And then I'm wondering, my poor fingers, why would I want to go into farming? But it looks like this gentleman is just about to change my mindset about agriculture, maybe farming, whatever it be. And you watching as well might just be inspired. A man who has achieved so much that I may have to be directing you to his LinkedIn so that you go and read all of his profile, because I'm unable to read all of the profile. But for the purpose of this conversation, we're going to be talking to Worship Joshua Frimpong, who is the founder and executive director for Riafia Kenton Agro and Trading Limited. You may have seen him somewhere doing a lot, but let me just remind you as well that he is the founder of Ground Zero Networking. I've had a conversation with him last year. I didn't show up. I know that he'll forgive me for that. But the next episode, I'm promising, the next one, I'm promising I will show up. So today, let's lead you to the journey of agriculture and how it's looking in Ghana. Is it a place that you like to venture? Is this something that you want to look at and you're looking to get some inspiration from somebody? I'm joined by Worship Joshua Frimpong. Gentlemen, always calm, cool, collected. How you doing?
Pretty well, how are you?
Very well, thank you. So a little bird whispered to me that you nearly wanted to be SRC president at Gimpa.
Yeah, it's a story that I don't like to talk about again.
Why not?
But
most successful young men don't like to talk about the negative one.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, I mean, I don't mind sharing anyway, but I had a very good run, and just like anything that you do, there's a final objective that you'd want to attain.
Right.
Rather unfortunately, that particular objective, I didn't get it, but I'm not bothered because just like I told my team, I did not join the race because I wanted to compete. We joined because we had impacts to create, and we believed we had a thing that we could give to the student, which we did in many varying ways. So I am happy that we're able to build something and we can take it from there.
Do a lot of people know that you're into farming?
I think a number of people do. I may not be able to be able to determine the number, but I think a number of people do.
And I mean, with all of the things that you've been doing, which one are you excited about? The farming, Ground Zero, your leadership, you know, a lot of things that you've achieved. Which one has your full attention and which one is exciting you so far?
I think the farming, particularly because it's taking me through different things that I didn't expect to be in. It's changed my environment because I have to leave Accra. You know, I've lived all my life here in Accra, even though I lived in the deepest part of it. But it changed my environment and taking me back. You know, we used to hear stories from our parents that, hey, when we were in the farm, we used to take cocoyam to school. All those stories looked interesting, but we had not lived that same life. So farming took me there, and it's fulfilling, you know, to know that you're particularly one of the reasons why people still have food on their table. It's a thing that I don't want to get away from anytime soon.
How long have you been farming?
So we've been doing farming since 2022. That's with the crop. But back at home, which is still running, I've been doing goat farming for a while.
You have goats?
Yeah, but it's not for commercial purposes. So
domestic. I'm your domestic friend now. I'm not your commercial friend. I love goats. Oh gosh. Anyway, let's talk about the overview as a country. Have you met many young people who are quite interested in farming?
Yes, I think that when I started farming, I got a number of people who had showed interest from my post engagement on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on WhatsApp, that hey, this is a thing I would like to invest in, you know, but what is the state of it? I know that the country is hard, so many times when people want to invest, they're obviously looking for what would give them an instant return, because I mean, young people don't have some capital line somewhere to say that I could risk this one and then fall on another. So a number of them want the quick return. So I'm always honest with them that if you're looking to run a cartel, then farming is not one. But if you're looking for something that is sustainable, something that is fulfilling, something that would build you, then obviously farming is it. I mean, and Ghana is over 70% an agricultural country, so I don't think that if you want to pursue something related to agric, it's bad. Only that it does not give you that sense of occupation that other occupations give you.
Really?
And that is one of the reasons why I decided just not to do the planting and the production, but also other aspects of it, which I believe we'll talk about anytime soon.
How did you even start?
So here's the beautiful thing. I think that around 2019, thereabout, from 2017, we've been doing a project in the Northern region, a health screening project. I had been a part of a company that had been doing the non-governmental organization, MAUTT. So we're always in the Northern region, working, helping these people. And then I got in touch with one of the team members who followed us all the time. And he mentioned that he wanted us to start a different business away from the ones I do. I said, I've been wanting to start farming, so if he thinks it's something that he would want us to go into, we can kick it start. He says, though he's not too sure that he has the capacity to join along, but he will let me speak to his father.
Okay.
So I spoke to the father, who liked me instantly and said that, he had 100-acre land in the Northern region, so I should pick it up. So he gave me 100-acre land to start a soybean. That was I think in 2021. And
soybean?
Then, yeah, in Salaga.
In 2021, there was high shortage of soybeans.
Yeah. So I went there, we started, the process. We surveyed the land, everything was perfect for it. We, did the plowing and all of that. And I got stuck, I got hit by different things elsewhere. So I had to channel some of the money there. And I had been expecting somebody who wanted to partner to join, so we do it. Unfortunately, the person also didn't show up. So that whole year, I couldn't do the soybean. In fact, I didn't think I was going to do anything agric again because I had invested, plowing. You're plowing 100-acre land, that's almost 15,000 because it's huge. And we had used it, but there was nothing else going on the land. I don't want to say that it was not adequate planning because it was properly planned, only that, it's just like the trade itself. You can do everything as a farmer, but you not get the expected result, and that's it because you don't control the process of production.
That's hard.
You put it in the soil, and then you don't know what's happening inside. You're only hoping that the things you're doing to it would eventually get you the result, but anyway, so we couldn't do it. So I totally was depressed, I wouldn't lie, and I said I wasn't going to do anything agric again. And then one of the members at church had spoken to my dad. So I was there, my dad called and said, this man says that there are available lands in the Ashanti region. Don't you think you'd want to take it again and start? I mean, I know you don't fall down like that, so don't you want to start again? I said, I'll think about it. So I met the guy the following Sunday. He said, okay, sure. There are available lands, so if I would want to pick it up, I said, sure. So I picked up a 50-acre and then started the maize, and I think, that's what you can see on the
Interesting.
on the screen.
I mean, when I first ever had a conversation with you, it was more about empowering young people, very much networking, which you call Ground Zero. It's very far off from agriculture today. I cannot bring the two together. They're very different. And so you have told me about the experience in Salaga, but why did you even choose to want to invest in agriculture? Like, you're young. Agriculture, like, what's even the risk on a scale of 1 to 10? I've just been learning. You put the seed there, you're not very certain whether. Why that particular business? I like to see the opportunities that exist. Is it that they exist and we can't see? Because farming may not be one of the things I will elect myself or volunteer to want to be part. So what did you see? So
genuinely, I like to build businesses around the things I believe hold a country together. And so if you take a look at a number of the businesses that I run, even though they are startups, they tackle very key aspects of the society. Adanichem is health. Eco Africa, which is climate and energy, which has focused directly on young people within the energy transition process. Ground Zero, empowering young people. I believe that these are the pillars that, hold. So I didn't have to even think twice about wanting to start agriculture. And I know that for a very long time, agriculture has been going through a lot in this country. We've tried different strategies, different policies, but none of them really seem to be working. So I thought that if I set these 3 themes as objectives, we could do something for agriculture. We could reduce hunger, we could rebrand agriculture, which was a key thing for me. I always think that I'm a pace setter, so if I start something, regardless of what I'm able to do, somebody may be able to pick it up from there. But if young people are going to join agric, it must be rebranded. People must see that agriculture really is an occupation they can enter into. If somebody applies to work at the bank and the person gets sacked, the person knows that at least I'll still be paid because the laws would guarantee my security and my safety. At least before you even sack me, you need to give me some months notice and all of that. But there's really nothing like that in agric. It looks like a trade on its own that's governed by whoever is in the trade, not something. So I thought, okay, so when I entered inside, I said, okay, sure, we should look at different ways of, trying to rebrand it. Let's first start by finding ways to get tech into the space because technology impacts agriculture a lot. And things have changed over the years. People don't do traditional farming again, except Ghana and some other parts of Africa.
So my fingers are safe.
I mean,
I've just said except Ghana.
Ghana and some part of Africa,
Okay.
People still do. I still do traditional. A number of the farmers I know are still rain-fed smallholder farmers. It's not like they're large scale. So it's not really changed. I mean, we'll get there and I'll tell you some of the difficulties that, So beyond the mechanization project, we also decided to start a legal aid project for the farmers, which I'd also elaborate further because I thought that if these farmers enter into several contractual engagement, at least that's what I came to realize. These companies come, they take their produce and say, oh, we'll pay you later. 6 months, a year, the pay has not come, the farmers are there. They don't even know the actions they can take. So a trade that does not provide that much security for its people, it's not a thing that young people would want to enter. If we want them to enter, then we must make proper adjustment. That's what I thought. So that's what I decided, okay, I don't mind being slaughtered first.
Beautiful to hear. We won't slaughter you yet.
Yeah.
But so have you explored any of the current policies around agriculture currently? What is the current government doing? Have you come by anything that in any way feeds in what you do, that throws some positive light into agriculture currently?
I mean, admittedly, I've said it a number of times and I'd say it again, that one of the policies that were introduced by recent government, the planting for food and jobs and all the others, and the one district, one factory, were totally geared towards providing agric that redemption that it needed. But just like anything else in the country, we never see things to the end. What is the end goal of the produce that we have? It is that they can be industrially, manufactured so that we can be able to add more value to it. That's what one district, one factory would have served. Right? It means that whatever we have, we'd have industries that can manage them. Again, the one village, one dam would have also supported because drought is a big issue. It means that we would have a stable water source where irrigation would not have been much of a problem for the people, especially when there's very little rainfall. Again, we didn't see it to the end. Planting for food and jobs, a number of these farmers were provided with seeds and all of that, which were very good, but still, so these policies were very good, very positive ones. But in recent times, we don't even know which of them is still in action. So I honestly think that if we're able to see them through again, it would help. Because one key thing that I was expecting a number of the governments to do is the procurement of fertilizer. And when I say that, I mean that it's not just about bringing in more fertilizer into the system. Farmers have not had a problem with getting fertilizer. The problem they've had is being able to buy. Because these farmers...
So there's fertilizer?
There is.
Expensive.
But these people cannot buy because the cost... In fact, on Tuesday, I bought a fertilizer. Yesterday, I was crying on my status because I was called from the farm and I was told that 40 cedis had been added to it. And this is not like you have some genuine cash flow where if there are changes, you can still be tapping from it. No, you gather some money and decide to do agric.
What makes it expensive? Is it that we're importing fertilizer?
Yes, that's it. And it doesn't matter whether or not they've been in the warehouse for long, the inflation will still affect it, because of course when the person is going to buy the new ones, the person is not going to buy them at the old stock price.
Yes.
So those who are the warehouse are still inflated, whether or not they are still there. So farmers cannot buy. That's the problem. And so procuring and bringing them down here is not a problem, but subsidizing it is the thing. There should be proper data collection. Know the ranges of your farmers, their capacity, how far they can go. Know that this region, in the northern, in the Ashanti, the farmers cannot buy.
Yeah.
So we can either get it for them at subsidized prices or at no cost and retain some of the produce. These are some adjustments that could be done.
We can nearly say common sense. Nearly say that is common sense. Let's get on the value chain. So on the value chain, walk me through from the beginning to the end. Which part is the hardest?
I wish I could point one, but all of them are.
There's a challenge on every stage.
Yeah, all of them are, because let me use last year I did maize throughout, so I'd use maize as an example. Now, when we're getting the seeds, we noticed that there had also been an increase on the price of seeds. So, because I'm starting first, it's not like I had started before where I could have retained some of my seeds that I could use. No.
Okay.
So I'm starting means I have to go and get it.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So that's the point. And there's increased cost. I wouldn't even talk about acquisition of land. All of those things are, because if somebody doesn't have a land, it means the person has to start. So it's either you are buying outrightly or you're getting a lease for a number of years for which you can use. So land acquisition, getting the seeds, getting laborers, because you don't know these people. So you enter into a community, these are new people and all of that. I was fortunate to, have been directed by the gentleman that helped me get the land there to get a number of laborers that we've been working with for since 2022. So that stage, and getting the fertilizer, getting the pesticides, very expensive, I wouldn't lie, very. And you need more than 3-4 boxes depending on the size of the land.
Yeah.
Right? And when you are done, of course you need water.
Yes.
So you have to totally depend on rainfall. This we totally dependent on rainfall.
But the rainfall pattern has changed.
Totally changed. And the funny thing is that oftentimes we think when it rains in Accra, it rains everywhere.
It does not, eh?
It does not. It could even rain in, so even though this was a Santia Chim Agogo, this was still a town in that municipality. So it was, I think, in Shaiso.
Okay.
Right? It could rain in Agogo, but not in Shaiso.
Are they? God being selective.
At that time, I even thought he didn't like me.
Oh, no. Okay.
So that side, so if it doesn't rain, that's a problem. So we had drought, and then it caused us to have low yield, which is it. And then when we finished, and then we had to do the threshing.
What does that mean?
The machines that will thresh the maize into the sacks.
Okay, there's a machine that does
Yeah,
that.
there's a machine. There are multi.
I need a tour. Like I need a whole excursion.
I'll try for us to do that. It will make it.
I know. I mean, I've been following my grandmother, my mom to the farm and all, but this is fascinating because they were doing it to feed the home, but this is on a very commercial level. And so at the rainfall part, which is a challenge which you don't have control over, well then, irrigation, which is a technology you mentioned.
So irrigation stumps, different types of irrigation stumps. They are one that, some of them use drones to do.
Drone?
Yeah, there are drones that do that. Even drones that spray fertilizer and all of that. They are able to manage the crop health, the measurement, they're able to do So these things are things that are advanced, but of course you're not there, so you can't meet it. But these irrigation stumps allow you to be able to manage the crop as it grows through the various stages.
Okay.
But you don't have them. So, I mean, even if you want to do manual, it means you must have those sprinting stumps that, but if the land is as big as 50, how are you going to be doing that all the time?
What kind of payment system, how are you funding, I see all these laborers, the land, the fertilizer that you've said, how are you funding it? And are you able to get enough produce and transport it to the various points to make some money?
So this was personally funded, and I didn't get the returns as I expected because, I mean, this was my first scare. After everything was properly done, I was expecting almost 100 bags from 80, 100, a little bit above. I had 20.
Okay, so at what point do you know that you're going to make good harvest? And at what point do you know you're not going to? Is it when we have finished harvesting?
I mean, when the yield comes, you'd see. So the maize, you'd see that you're able to have 1, 2, 3, 4 on them. And
yes.
But I had the whole stretch, you just have one.
And this we blame on the rainfall,
Yeah.
or we blame on the kind of seedling.
No, it's the rainfall actually. It didn't come at a time that was needed, so it was a problem.
What do you do? Do you then go, before you start farming in that community, do you then go to the community, ask the rainfall pattern? Because as I know, you can really depend on the Ghana Meteorological Agency, not too much, but are you able to go to the community and ask questions?
Yes, I mean, I had spoken to the agricultural extension officer. There are a number of them that I had engaged. Agogo actually is one of the areas in the country that does very well in terms of maize, tomatoes, pepper, plantain.
Okay.
Very well.
Okay.
They produce, if I'm not mistaken, the largest plantain in the country every time from there. In fact, even onions. So there's much trust in the weather condition, in the climate. Only that it's been changing in recent times. So there's very little you could do. Everybody expected that it was going to be rainfall. Everybody, but it didn't happen.
So how do you come by the laborers?
I mean, so I was fortunate, like I mentioned, the one who helped me get the land got one of them for me, who has eventually become the farm manager. He's been very good. He's called Bukari, Baba Bukari. He's been very good, very honest, truthful. He would let you know that this is going to work, this is not going to work. Let's look at it this way, let's look at it that way. And there are laborers in the community. It's a farming community, so it's not difficult to get a laborer. Okay. Right? And these are people who do them at various stages as and when you need their services. So it's not difficult to get laborers within those communities.
Let's see the extension that you have been able to add and the value, the legal words, what do you call it?
Yes, so we've been in partnership with AcoFresh. AcoFresh is also an agricultural startup that has been doing post-harvest loss management. So they have a solar paneled technology that stores your produce for I think about 21 days for now. So in partnership with them, in this July, we're going to run the training session for the farmers. It's a training workshop. It's going to be on sustainable agricultural practices, and then also on legal, so tutorials on basic fundamentals of law, like human rights, contract. I gave the example earlier that I had noticed that a number of these farmers were engaging businesses and companies who would come pick their stuff, say would pay you in 2 months, 3 months time. Nobody shows up again.
Exploiting them.
Yes, exploiting a number of them. Some of them even say, okay, farm for me. I've given you the money, farm for me. I'll pay you. They'll finish farming a 50-acre land, a 100-acre land, and the payment is 2 bags of the maize, which was not the terms that were agreed on. But who would these people go to? Sometimes if you don't know that something is an abuse, you wouldn't think of it as one.
Sure.
So we want to enlighten them, at least on the basics, and to a larger extent, if we're able to, if we're supported enough, help them, represent them in terms of this contractual engagement. So if a company wants to take your produce, would lead you, we don't necessarily need you to pay us or anything. If the land is yours and the produce are yours, it means we can just take, say, some of the produce where we can store and also use it for something else. But we would want to be part of the process, right? Engage the company on your behalf, ensure that whatever terms that you are entering into with them,
it's fair enough.
It's fair.
How does this, say, maize, how does it travel all the way to becoming a ball of kenke on my plate from Agogo?
Yes.
I am looking at how it gets to the consumer.
Okay. So this particular one that we did, the 20, I did them in 50 kgs. Normally those are the bag size consideration for the poultries.
Okay.
So they picked them up. But normally the bigger sizes are done, the 100, 150 kg ones are done, and then are brought. The vendors buy them. So some of the vendors come, normally if you want to get it at a very cool price, they come all the way to Agogo. So the hike in prices normally are not the farmers, it's the vendors. And I'll talk about it. Sometimes there's much exaggeration, which is not good. But they'll come all the way to Agogo,
Okay.
pick it up. So it may go for, say, 400 cedis in Agogo. I think a
Okay.
box of tomatoes is 600 cedis there now. But it would come to Accra, and it's probably 2,000 something, or it is 1,500, or that's the point. But yes, so they get it from there, bring it here. Some of them do it a bag. So those who do the kinky would just take the bag, and then they would take it to the machine, get it done, and then bring it. For those who do the corn, it's the roasted one. They would also go for the actual maize itself, in the hacks and everything, and bring it, and then sell it, roast it one, and then sell it after the other like that.
I want to get into business in agriculture, but I want to find out at what point it's easier to make some money. Is it when you're done, and then I travel from Accra to come and pick the produce, and I bring it to Accra?
I mean, so there are those who are interested in the production through to aggregation, through to selling. Maybe you want to be an aggregator. It means that
That's what it's called.
yes, when the maize and everything is done, you would go for them, bring them here, store. Actually, a number of times you'd get enough money from being able to store and reselling them at a time where there's shortage.
Okay.
That's where. So because you're able to add prices to it, and people are going to buy regardless.
I like this free consultation. Yeah, free consultation.
It should come at cost anyway. But these are, I would not be lying when I say that there's money in agric. So I'm doing a 2.5 acre now for tomatoes.
Okay.
That is for
Show
this
me what
season.
2.5 acre is like in Accra. Show me like where say if you're in
An acre is 4 plots.
Accra Mall, if you're standing
Oh,
in
I'm
Accra Mall.
not. An acre is 4 plots,
I
right?
don't know what that is. So if you're in Accra Mall, where will I travel to Fiesta Royal?
No,
That's too big.
That's too wide. I wish I could properly demarcate.
This is why I need the tour. So what? Do you walk or you drive through the farm? I'm concerned about myself.
So vehicles are not able to go
Any
through to the farm.
further?
It depends on the type of your farm and how, So on my maize stretch, vehicles are able to go through to the place because there are companies there that are doing timber production and all of that.
Okay.
So they have cleared the road well. Not well, but it's easier for cars to move. But on the tomatoes, when you I go by motorbike. So that was a new experience too. That's like I said, agric has made me
Do a lot of things
that I never anticipated to do. Because in Accra, I've never sat on a motorbike. I'm totally scared.
They say where your money is, where your heart is.
Yes.
So you sat on the motor
I
eventually.
sit on it, and I sometimes I'm even careless. I don't use a helmet. I'm enjoying the breeze and all of that, and I guess I end up on the farm. So the motor is able to go through
Okay.
to the farm, but when you get there, obviously you can't walk on the land itself because of what you're doing on it. So that's true. But 2.5 acre that's about 8 plots and a few other plots, about 2 or so. Right, that's about 10 plots, if I'm not mistaken. That's about 10 plots, and it's big. So I'm totaling a cost of about almost 30,000 on it. The return, the boxes should be around from 80 to 100 there. So if a box goes for, let's do a quick calculation.
Yes.
If a box should go for, at that place, should go for 600 by 80, that should give me 48,000. It means that's 18,000 profit.
I like it. So this 18,000 profit, are you paying? This is after paying the farmers.
That is what you're getting from sales.
Sales.
You're done with everything. That's what you're getting from.
I like it.
From sales, but you already spent 30,000 as production cost and
Okay,
everything.
so all of that is
So if
in
you
there.
take the 30,000 and all of that, That's it. But if you decide to come and sell it in Accra, you'd probably be making much more than that, because if in Accra, a box is going for 1,500. So 1,500 by 80, that's 120,000 cedis.
I like this part.
But it is how to get the customers.
Yes. We're eating every day.
It's not about that.
No one in my community is selling one tomatoes for 10.
There are more vendors in the country as
Okay.
much as there are consumers. So the vendors are also on their toes all the time, going to the community, the farming communities, getting them.
Okay.
So they will bring it to Accra. And these are people that probably have regular customers already, right?
Okay.
So they'll go there, bring it, and then you'd rather now be competing with them, also trying to sell it at 1,500. But you don't know the customers like they do.
But I know Joshua, I know worship. So if I build my alliance very well, then I can get a better discount. So that
Fair. But if you, so here's the problem. The problem is that just a few people are able to see this much profit because you don't have a storage system, which is the problem.
Right.
So you'd give it to the vendors quickly.
Okay.
Sell everything to them, be able to get your...
Then the bargaining power goes to the vendor then.
Exactly the point. So they have the last bargaining power all the time.
Okay. Finally, on finances, if not for the losses and for the capital that you need, would you say that agriculture, I mean, you have said it a number of times, is a very lucrative business that young people should look at?
I mean, it is. It's a business that will give you the return if it is properly done, and then the investment is huge as well. Improved farming gives you improved profit.
What does that mean?
So I mean to say that, so for example, the maize, right? If you have all the machines, the needed machines, you have the irrigation stamps, you have all of that, it means you are actually going to get your yield for you to be able to sell to get the profit.
Okay.
But if you don't have all of them, you may end up either making losses or not reaching the profit target.
Okay.
Which is and that is the problem of Ghana. So even though there have been a number of policies that have supported farmers in one way or the other, we've still not tackled the problem of technology. Now see the threshing machine there. This is the tractor, multi-purpose tractor that was threshing my maize.
Okay.
So the maize is thrown inside with a husk. There's a section where the husk would come out and the seeds would enter into the sack, and then they would...
And the seeds come out whole?
Yes,
as they are.
like that. And then they would seal it and put it there. That tractor is 2 decades old.
Okay.
I waited for 3 weeks before it got to my turn.
Basically, it's on a rental system, or?
Yes, it's just on a rental system, but it was only one man that had it at that place. And it's 2 decades old. It has to go through a series of repair all the time. In fact, it got, the frontal part of it got broken when it was almost closer to my farm. So we had to leave it there that day because they had to go find where they would get it from, come fix it the next day before it was able to come. So it means that if I had rented it to work 2 days...
1 day is out?
Yes.
Eish.
So
1 minute I'm in love with this agriculture, another minute I'm emotional.
So that's why we've introduced the mechanization project, that we are trying to get partners to come on board.
Okay.
The farmers have understood that agriculture has changed beyond the traditional way of doing it. And they are ready to tag along, to adjust, to get technology involved.
Okay.
So these farmers actually pay for the tractor. They rent it. If it's plowing an acre, it is 300 cedis. So they'll have to pay per acre for it to plow. If it's threshing, I think it was 20-something cedis per bag, depending on the size and all of that. So they are so if there are available equipment, the farmers could actually rent them to do the job and they would go back.
I have a question where there's an argument that if we replace technology with the farmers, the traditional way of farming, people are not going to get jobs to do. What's your take?
I mean, this argument about technology has always been that in every space, there's somebody who is going to lose their job. But the truth is that those who lose their job often are the people who don't learn how to use that technology. So if a tractor comes in, right, and there are not going to be people who will sit down, be opening the maize from the husk, to be doing 1-1, those people could equally be trained to man the tractor.
How many people can manage tractor?
But you see, the tractor cannot work in silo. The tractor there alone cannot just sit down and be doing like that. So there are still people there
Okay.
who are doing the whole thing together.
Okay.
So it's a dice that we're throwing. At the end of the day, what are we looking for?
Yeah.
Are we looking for it to solve shortages, reduce hunger, and all of that? Yes, we are looking forward to doing that.
Yeah.
So we must find a way and then be able to meet up. Else, we would rather invest that money in importing.
What are you farming currently?
Asante Chimagogo.
What? Tomatoes?
Tomatoes, yeah.
Okay, how's it coming up? How long does it take? What's the process like? And I am concerned because I know tomatoes just perishes so quickly.
So I'll just give you a very good breakdown. So we have the land. We had to clear the land first. In fact, my anticipation has changed because I keep getting surprised all the time, but it's beautiful. So they've cleared the land, but there are those who have to, so those who weed,
Okay.
and there are those who would cut off the trees from it. Those are different people. It comes with a different expertise,
Okay.
right? And there are those who would remove the roots and everything. Those are different expertise too. They have a way to use the hoe to do it. These are 3 different people doing 3 different jobs that you have to pay them separately. And the costs are not small. And some of them are per day, some of them are per acre.
Okay.
Right? So they would work on it. When they are done, the tomatoes is done on a nursery bed first. I wish I could share that video with you. But it's done on a nursery bed first. So the nursery bed is done. The seeds are thrown on it and everything, and it's watered for a while.
How long
the
does it
tomatoes, I mean, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the tomatoes comes up. I mean, when you apply fertilizer, it comes rather quickly.
Okay.
So the tomatoes comes up, and then they do the transplanting. Now the plowing on the, I mean, so they do a manual planning. They can't call it in Kofi.
Okay.
It looks
Like what you do with yam.
exactly. Yes, you're getting it. So that's what they do. So then Kofi, they come and do, those who do it will do it. So normally it can be done faster. While they do it, those who do the transplanting are also doing it.
Okay.
So they will go remove every single tomato from the nursery bed and then do the transplanting on it
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
And then 2-3 months, it should be ready.
Okay.
Within that time, you could be working on how to acquire consumers, I mean customers to buy it and all of that. The variety of consumers, but you have to look at which ones you're looking for. Of course, there are restaurants across the country, some in the university, some in the schools, there are households and all of that. But you just must be ready for the associated risk, especially in terms of pricing, that these people may not be willing to get it at the cost you may want to put it. And if you don't quickly try and sell it, you'd lose because we have too much juice in our tomatoes and they get rotting easily.
Okay.
They're not like the ones from Burkina and Co.
Also, the difference between our tomatoes and the one from Burkina is that ours has enough juice.
Yes, there's a lot of juice in it.
Okay, what stage are we now? Or have we harvested? What stage are we here?
So this was last year's
harvest. How
No,
does
you
it
see-
feel to see that something that you planted?
Very beautiful. So, I mean, I mean, it gives you, it's refreshing to see that, hey, the thing really came well. Or it came out well.
Yes.
We are currently doing the transplanting now. So
Okay.
there are about 10 laborers on the land now, 10 of them working. Amazingly, we have 5 women
Okay.
working.
Do the women work any harder than the men?
Women have the type of jobs they do and they do them well.
Nice.
So, and if it has to do with filling the drum with water, that's their stretch. If it has to do with the transplanting, they do quite well with that as well.
Okay.
They do very well. And with the maize, if it has to come with plucking them off, and then they do quite well. So you notice that on mine, I worked with them.
Yes.
More on that.
Yes.
So they do. I think the community is properly, segregated. Everybody knows what
They're
they
doing.
do, what their expertise, and they are a serious. And that's why I say that it is a matter of being deliberate and committed to the trade, because a number of Ghanaians are totally hardworking. They leave very early in the morning. The station is called Nyentokro.
Okay.
Very early in the morning, you see all the boboyas there and the few taxis that are available. Over hundreds of people. I'll try and take a video so that you
Okay.
could share.
Okay.
I'd leave here to the farm right after here.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, that's when you get them.
Okay.
They are there in numbers, hundreds of them, ready to go to their farm.
That's
like
beautiful.
There's never been a time that you see them lazing about. No. And
You'd say the energy over there plus the one in Accra here.
I mean, I don't think there's much difference because here in Accra, people are also hustling.
True.
Right?
Sure.
But the way we don't see those there to be totally, So the one with the cap is Bukari.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
My love to Bukari when you go.
And that's what we normally do after the day's work. We do a briefing. I get to understand if there's something that didn't happen well in terms of feeding, whatever, anything. We look at it, and then, the next day, we have to. One of the issues I also faced had to do with language.
Okay, so we're gonna go to your challenges because then you look very fine, gentleman. I'm enjoying the conversation, and yet you haven't let us in your challenges. You've shared one of the lowest moments when you thought you were going to harvest at least, and you had 20 bags.
20.
That's sad. But let me in some of your challenges.
So, language is key. It was a big problem at the time. They do, but you'd realize that. Am I allowed to say this? You'd realize that I speak Tree quite well. I speak well.
Okay.
They would say Nakamini Abranet.
Oh, right. Okay.
But a number of the laborers who are very good are not the residents, the natives, no. They are people coming all the way from the northern region. And,
I see.
And from the borders, those who have left and come, yes. So you'd find a number of the northerners. Bukari, I mean, as the name goes, Bukari, all of them are literally from the north. I've not worked with any Akan native there, no. All of them.
Do they come any cheaper? Affordable is the right word to say.
No, they come at a high cost, I'll not lie. That is the job they do. They are not people with farms. So that's their respective occupation too. They are the ones who would help you do the work on the farm.
Okay.
The only difference is that a number of the natives have the lands.
Okay.
So they do the land, they do the farming at their pace.
Okay.
Right? Okay. These people have left and come here.
Okay.
So they've also paid much attention to what they can do and do very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they do it. They don't. It really has nothing to do with how much to acquire them. They're actually very good at what they do, and they do them well. So language.
You've mentioned the rainfall.
Rainfall, very big, very, very big.
Partnership, you touched slightly on it, how much you guys are trying to encourage people to partner with the farmers as well. Is it a challenge, or it rather looks like a positive means to a good end?
I mean, it's been a very big challenge trying to get people to see the light of what you want to. Because I want to say it in a very lucid way so that people don't get it wrongly. There are a number of people who would want to invest, right? But those investments, the investors are thinking about the risk associated.
Yes.
So we've just not been able to get somebody who wants to invest in the technology.
Right. Which is the most expensive part,
yes,
not?
They want to invest in the trade. That is in getting the land, planting, getting the produce. We're still all going to face the same risk because that's what we're trying to avoid, right? So we've been working, I mean, in recent times, we've had engagement with some partners from India and a few others. But my father would say that until the deal is done, every other thing is a statement.
Sure.
Because they are all words. Everybody would say, we can do it to you, let's do it, let's try here, but nobody really.
What's your lowest moment in this farming business that you've gotten yourself into? I would have thought that you're quite a young, successful man. What's your business with agriculture? But it looks like you've answered that question by wanting to help solve the issue of hunger. And I mean, quite recently, I was reading in the news that hundreds of rice bags have been left in the warehouse in Asotari. I really wonder how and why. But what has been your lowest moment?
I think that the experience in Salaga was the worst. It broke me because, the enthusiasm with which I wanted to do the thing just vanished. And I was thinking about too many things at the time. Somebody giving you the land, it means the person would expect that you put it to good use.
Of course.
And then it all comes up that after a very nice conversation and everything, all the plans just go like that. It was my lowest moment. I sat in a room for more than a month. I was not leaving. I never went to my office. I never left. In fact, I even forgot there were other businesses running. I was just in the room. Every time my mom would come and say, "It will be fine. I know. Don't worry." I'm like, "Oh, sure, it will be." And, but I was the only person who knew what I was going through. And it was difficult because I went through so many things. I left Accra. When you get to Tamale, to Salaga is 3 hours. At that time, the road was not done, so I was covered in dust, everything, and it looked very beautiful. I thought I was going to tell a good tale at the end. I mean, you came covered in dust.
And now you're coming
covered
with...
Aha. It appeared that dust was rather better than any other.
But so what then, I'm happy to hear that you didn't stay there, but you got out of it and then started again here in this new place that you're
and
in.
it's been good. I keep saying that to think like an entrepreneur is not an easy thing. At every point in time, you must see the problem as something that must get a solution. Yesterday, I had the privilege to speak to a number of young people who wanted to be entrepreneurs, and I was telling them that the mindset of entrepreneur is totally different from anybody else, from an employee, from anything else. While an employee would close work and say, "Okay, sure, I'm going home. Boss, I'm done." You have to sit back and examine everything and say, "Okay, are we making headway or we are not?
We're not.
Are we dying or we are?" So you totally have to think differently. And that's what got me up. You went, it didn't work. Really? Is that all you want to do as an entrepreneur? You have to think outside the box again. And so when I went and I didn't have the much yield I expected, I didn't get broken because I had already gone through with Salaga.
I
didn't even get the seed. But it's good, and tomatoes is a good trade. If we're able to handle our post-harvest loss, we're able to. I keep saying that one of the fastest way to solve hunger is not to produce more.
How you handle the produce.
Exactly. More production. We can have affable lands across, keep planting and planting and planting. But if we don't store what we don't need at the time we don't need it, to bring it at the time we need it, then we are dead. Because we're planting in seasons, right? We're planting in seasons.
That's a nice photo of you.
Thank you. I don't look like a farmer.
No, you don't.
Right? So if you plant the seasons, the dry season is done, the produce are here. Nobody's buying, they get spoiled. We have to wait again. That process of waiting, there's shortage. But that shortage could have been cured with a proper storage, post-harvest management process. And that's what we don't invest in.
What's the minimum I need to start business? What's the minimum I need to come to you for consultation and also into the journey to start?
I like that you started with consultation. I was going to ask you.
Quite civil.
You get a discount.
Thank you. Thank you. Minimum. Any young person watching us today who thinks that, wow, worship has done it, I think I can follow suit. How much do they need to save up?
So normally the consultation comes in stages. I like to teach you practically so that you know exactly what you're going into. And so if it's a normal conversation, that has a different rate. But I always want to see that it goes beyond the conversation. So I could take you to my land, let you see what we are doing. That also comes at, and then I could let you speak to my farm manager who has much more experience in terms of, so he has the experience in terms of the planting. I have experiences from doing the business as a whole. So that's where my knowledge would come from. There are other people that have their experience in terms of, doing the planting itself and all of that. So all of those stages of the consultation come at a different cost. It's friendly. I wouldn't want to scare people, but it's a friendly one, so you can reach out to me. But you would arguably need from 30,000 cedis to start something. And it would always depend on what you intend to plant. Somebody does 2 acres of pepper and gets more than. There's much money in pepper even than the rest. But the
No, I
problem,
don't like pepper.
no, but the problem is you need too many workers on the land because you know the way it comes up, you have to pluck. One person doing alone cannot. So you need 15
I
people.
think Ghanaians, we eat too much pepper. You see what do you
It's
for
good.
pepper?
Hey, mewu. And enche.
What do you make? Oh, it's a pleasure talking to you. Finally, before I let you
Yeah.
go, what is that one thing you're asking government to really do to make it any better for young people wanting to go into agriculture?
I would want to say prioritization. I want them to treat agriculture as the first wife. I'm saying that because it's government, it may have other responsibilities, cannot just be only wife. But we are only as fit to do anything we want to do if our food is fit.
Right.
So if we don't eat properly, it means we have a problem. Food has a way of affecting every other aspect of what we are doing. It is the only reason why we are even stable enough to think, to work. So we need to put in much investment, that we need to prioritize it. And now when I say the investment, we should not politicize
Food.
the support there. That's the
Yeah.
problem I've always had with government support. It is not about the numbers game.
Yeah.
I said it at the Yapsa Youth Forum, that you don't throw about 200,000 and say that we've supported 500 young people by giving everybody thousands to this. That's not supporting. But if you properly identify the units that are truly doing well and do much investment there, they are able to expand. So identify the regions that are doing properly well. We have issues with technology. And then when I say technology, not even the too advanced one, but we need machines and
Very
equipment,
basic, yeah.
very basic things that, you know, good roads. These are key because we struggle all the time to bring the things from where they are, even to the center point for people to come and pick it up. Very, very important. Fertilizer, subsidizing some of these things, the fertilizer, the insecticide, the pesticide, all of these things are very key because a large number of your farmers are smallholder farmers.
Yeah.
So don't even assume that they are large scale. You don't have many large scale farmers. I'm not sure you even have 20 large scale farmers. You have millions of smallholder farmers in the country. They are your priority. You must pay attention to them. Let's treat it. All the monies we want to use it to invest in importation. If we invest them in getting proper post-harvest management processes and industries and all of that, we're going to be able to solve the issues that we are facing. It is not too difficult. It is only about commitment and being deliberate.
Perfect.
That's the whole point. These farmers are depending on them.
Yeah.
If they've done the best they can in their own way. Like I said, if you see them every morning rushing to the farm, there are people that have shown that they want to do the thing.
Do the work.
So it's not difficult to get them to keep doing it.
I totally agree with you. Thank you so much. Very fine gentleman by all standard, and I love talking to you. It's never boring when I get to talk to you. Let's discuss my goods later.
We'll think about it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much. So it's not very difficult to find LinkedIn, all of social media. Worship Joshua Frimpong. Just type it. Go to Google, and then it will take you to all of the things that he does, and then just send an email, call, message, and please learn a thing or two. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.
Have a good one. When the news breaks, when decisions are made, when society says it has to be a certain way, as young people, are we ever part of the conversation? Hi, my name is Emefa Akosia Adeti, and I invite you to be part of discussing relevant issues, be it social, political debate, religion, or culture. Let's have our say. On Youth Connect, we shall spark conversations, challenge what we ought to, and find solutions that benefits us all. On Youth Connect, we shall bring to the fore your passion, most importantly, your voice. Don't just watch or listen, act. It matters to you.